Hello, everybody. How are we?
Good.
Yep,
Super
audio's
duper.
working. Yep, everyone can hear.
I thought I was backstage still, so I was trying to be all polite and.
No. There's no fancy intros. Like everyone, we're all friends here. So, hi everybody to the patrons who are watching this live. Thank you for joining us. To everyone who is watching it later on when we inevitably release it to the rest of the public, thanks for tuning in. Today is the very first in our series of writers' rooms. For lack of any other better label for it, I think it's probably the best one that we've got. We're going to be doing something a little bit different with the Banthaverse, and we've got our friend Bryan Barry from Pink Milk here to join us in the very first outing of a writer's room, but to talk about what it is and why we're doing it and how it's all going to be constructed. Let's head over to Sean's lovely face, and he'll give us a bit of a rundown of what we're doing. Hey, Sean.
Oh, hi. Yeah, so for this, we've kind of... so in the previous ones, we went for this idea of, taking the films and jumping onto sequels and all that kind of thing, which worked excessively well and was excellent. But it's, you got to keep yourself challenged and fresh and moving and so on. So we decided that for the jumping off for the next one, we were going to look at one of my favorite things in the world, which is this fan-made poster for episode 7, which I remember when this first came out, and then I remember watching the film and then seeing it again. And the thing I love most about it, because I think it's a pretty well-made poster. Like, you see some of them and they look like they were put together in MS Paint, but this one actually looks like they put some work into it. But the thing that I love about it is, obviously, having watched The Force Awakens, every single thing is wrong.
Yes.
It's none of it. Okay, yeah, Chewie's in it. Yeah, old.
The droids are in it.
The droids are in it, but
kind of.
3PO doesn't have a red arm. It's just like top to bottom, every guess that they've made has been incorrect. And the more that you look at it, the more you see how incorrect they are. But I always sort of thought to myself, well, what would be the movie that this would be the poster for? And that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna see if we can use the AI as a jumping off point and to write that movie. So with that in mind, we're going to actually get some people to help us write that movie, because there's too much meat there, too much meat on these bones.
Way too much.
Just look at Adam Driver. Look at him on the poster. I love it so much, because you're like, oh yeah, Kylo Ren, long hair, like sexy young man, dark, dangerous, and it's like, okay, what if we got the nerdiest looking dude, put him in some armor? So it's perfect. So yeah, we wanted to bring people in and say, okay, what do you think? And get some ideas as sort of use the poster, use people's ideas, put some stuff together, and then we'll do in a few months or whatever, we'll do a big stream and we'll act out the movie. Have I missed anything? I think that's
no. I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, the only thing I would add to it is that it kind of finally gets us to that statement and promise that we made very early on, like after we did our very first Banthaverse stream, and we said to everyone who got involved in it, we were like, all right, now this thing that we want to do, we want to keep doing it, and we want to get like everyone's input, and you come up with backstories for your characters. And we said that ages ago, and we just never got around to doing it, like for all the best intention in the world, writing your own wiki and keeping it up to date and all that turned out to be a lot harder than we thought it would be. That is not an intuitive platform. It's not WordPress. Like Chris, Brian, I don't know if either of you have ever tried writing on Wikipedia or on fandom. Whew. There's a learning curve. And I'm sure someone might watch this at some point and be like, you're just an idiot. Maybe I am. But my God, it's not exactly like a what you see is what you get editor, right?
There's
some clunk. Yeah.
It looks like it.
So it became a little bit harder. But this gives us a good chance to sort of revisit that idea and, do what we said we were going to do. Get the people involved who are basically coming on our stream and doing embarrassing things and saying embarrassing things, not singling anyone out for having to say embarrassing things in the past. But it gives you some license with the character that we're asking you to play, and I think it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun and difficult trying to write it, I think, as well, and trying to get the AI to join pieces together. But that's the challenge. I think we've kind of pushed the standard way of writing inside of an AI bot kind of as far as it can go. In a sense, there's nothing new that we could do with it in that sense. So everything that we do outside of it, I think, is probably going to be the more interesting stuff, and maybe the more human elements that we bring into it, the more interesting it is. Because let's face it, AI by itself is shit. It's crap. But with all that said, before we jump in to start putting ideas out there and coming up with some stuff, let's talk about the poster again. And
all day, every day.
And I guess if we look at this, and let's just look at Andy Serkis in particular here, obviously no one knew what Snoke looked like, who Snoke was at the time. Same as Donald Gleason. Look at him, he's a Jedi. He's a Jedi.
Everyone looks wrong.
Everyone looks wrong.
That Domhnall Gleeson's wig is worse than Bo-Katan's the first time we saw her at the Mandalorian.
Well, you can definitely see that whoever's made this has been they've looked at Domhnall Gleeson, they've seen a picture of him with the beard, and they've been he's Obi-Wan's son. He's something to do with Obi-Wan. He's the and then I think one of my favorites, because obviously you see something new each time. I love how prominent Max von Sydow is. And then obviously he's in one scene. He's in the opening, and then that's it. But it's he's probably, his head is as big as because if we're going by the idea that the size of the head is the importance of your character, he's pretty high up there.
Yeah, he's as big as Harrison. He's as big as Mark.
Yeah. But
God, they thought Oscar Isaac was going to be super, super crucial as well, by the size.
And possibly even the villain. By the way, he's sort of, because there is an element of they have sort of hedged their bets on who the baddie is going to be. They're not quite sure. They haven't given out a red lightsaber or anything like that. They're ooh, could be this, could be that, could be this. But I sort of look at it and I think, okay, no, I think Oscar Isaac's supposed to be the villain.
Maybe. Well, let's talk about this. So, this obviously came out before we saw anything in the film. We all probably had some theories, so let's talk about those things. Let's start with Brian, just to put the guest on the spot, and then we'll go to Chris, go to Sean, and then I'll answer. So, before you saw anything, and there was just a cast list, did you have any kind of wild ideas, headcanon, theory, anything like that?
I just really thought Luke Skywalker was going to be in it a lot. I was worried.
You kind of if you were going to put money on that, you'd be yeah, I'll put the house on that. That's a lot better.
I'm homeless now.
That's it now.
I will say I was worried that it was going to be too close to Legends, and no shade to Legends and its fans, but I never liked that Luke Skywalker because I felt that it was always A New Hope Luke. And so when TLJ actually came out, I was very excited that he was actually haunted by the dark side in some sort of way. But yeah, and then I really thought we'd get some more prequel love too. I was excited for politics and to see how stormtroopers came back. I was wrong on every single thing that I ever thought about this movie.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big speculator, to be totally honest. I was just in it to win it, and I was stoked for it coming. But yeah.
Oops.
I definitely thought the characters in it were going to be the kids of the. Again, obviously, I know Yeah, but I think there was like, you know, the picture of them all doing the read through. All sat on the couch. And I think like Daisy Ridley was sat between Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. And I think that started my mind of like, oh, she's going to be their daughter, you know, like that was sort of where I was. But then, yeah, other than that, like you say, not hugely, yeah, nothing really kind of, you know, obviously as the movies went on and people really got into like fan theories to the point where it actually like ruined their enjoyment of the films, because it was like, you didn't do what I thought you were going to do, and that means it's bad. Like I wasn't kind of like at that point, I'm not sure how online I was at that point, because I remember the trailer coming out and being like, not knowing it was about to come out, you know, not like not being aware of it, and then having this moment of like, before I even play like the original, like, you know, the teaser trailer, of being quite confused of like, what's new Star Wars gonna look like? Like, what's this gonna be? What am I about to see? Like, because I just had no idea of any of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sean.
Yeah,
I wasn't online either. I didn't have a Twitter. The little bit of Facebook I was on, I was the only Star Wars nerd I knew. So I didn't even have an outlet for any of those things. And I don't think I was online aware enough to know that there was like Reddits and threads out there. I didn't know anything.
Yeah. Which is weird now, because like, you just know everything all the time, mostly against your will. You know, there's no, you know, there's so much stuff that I know about upcoming things that I just know, and I can't even remember how I know. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's just something that I instinctively knew, or I just read it somewhere. Or it's been like, you know, someone at a bus stop's like nudged me and been like, hey, in the Ahsoka show, get ready for this. Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
No head canon, because I still think that's stupid. But I had hopes. Like I hope, you know, Finn would be prominent and not treated as a joke or a side character or anything like that. And well, I was disappointed 98% of that. So yeah, I didn't have anything for anyone else. I you know, it was just, I had hopes, not so much speculations or theories or anything like that. And I just I was just there for Star Wars. But yeah, the Finn part was, yeah. I had no idea what Rey's character was going to. No one. I had no idea what anyone was going to be. I thought maybe Adam Driver's character was like Han and Leia's kid, and he was a like X-wing pilot or something like that. That's about as far as I got. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot of lightsabers and a lot of like,
yes,
like epic lightsaber battles, because the thing I remember the most from the prequel talk back in the day was like wanting the prequels to be The Matrix and have all of that stuff back then. And I thought maybe this time there would be more of that epicness around a lightsaber duel.
Yeah, I think you and me both on that. Like that was.
Yeah, I think you got that in Force Awakens. That last fight's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you remember, like, I don't know how you all felt when you first saw that close up, like, you know, when they're like Rey and Kylo are like clashing, and
like the purple light.
Yeah, that scene that almost didn't make it into the movie. I think it was an afterthought, but like just seeing that, like the rippling reflections and stuff like that. I mean, that was exhilarating. Yeah, like little things like that. But yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I thought there was going to be a lot more lightsaber stuff, and over and above that, like Chris, like I'm with you. I wasn't really headcanon-y. I wasn't doing too much, I guess, in the way of like wild speculation. And I'll be very honest, because I wasn't online in the way that I am now. I mean, I think I had a Facebook and an Instagram, and like, you know, I was like posting on Facebook, there's a new Star Wars coming out, and like 0 likes, you know, no one's everyone from high school. Like I get like the odd one. And then it wasn't until the first teaser came out that suddenly everyone that was on Facebook was talking about it, and that was like in the friends list, like that was, you know, we all know the lightning in a bottle thing that was.
Yep.
But like, I wasn't paying attention to things like cast lists and all that sort of stuff. I saw something about like Adam Driver was going to be in it, and I saw something about Andy Serkis was going to be in it, and I was so instantly Andy Serkis. I was just like, oh, he's going to be some creature. Like,
Right.
you know, that was the thing. Like, there wasn't anything about his cast announcement that made me go, oh, well, he's obviously going to play himself. You know, he's gonna just be a normal human. There was, because at that point in time, I didn't think that he did anything like that. I never thought that he acted unless there was dots all over his face.
Caesar and stuff, hasn't he? Like Caesar and Planet of the Apes and all that.
Yeah, so that's all I thought that we would get.
There was something, I don't remember when, at what point, but they were talking about bringing in Andy Serkis because of the mocap stuff and the character he was going to play. Like, there was no way they could do that character practically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm still waiting for that character that couldn't have been done practically, but
Well, yeah, because they did get like an old dude to like stand in for Snoke, didn't they? And like Last Jedi, I think there is like some old man that you use like. But I will say, Andy Serkis, he just elevates things, doesn't he? He's
oh, he's great. This
just incredible.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He really is.
I think the creature they're talking about is called the Webbish Bog.
The Webbish Bog.
Yeah, this creature that's on Mustafar, that may be the one that they're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't use him in the movies, but they did throw him into the comics. Or them.
Yeah, he's like
it.
Yeah.
It's like it's very much a thing that would like it would need. Yeah. It's got too much character. It would need a little
God, that thing is so cool.
It is so cool.
It needs to make its way into the Mandalorian somehow.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, God, they made it. They made the damn thing. It'll be sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Like, of course. All right. Well, let's move. Well, it was a bit of a segue. So let's talk about where we go next with this. So that is Snoke's origin. And Brian, this is going to be heavily on you because we are kind of now having to consider, I guess, a balance between what we know about Snoke and what this poster says about Snoke. We're in a kind of a fortunate position in a sense because, like, even though we try to connect all the Banthaverse stuff together, we've not done anything that really touches close to episode 7. We've gone as far as episode 4 3/4, and we've done episode 10. So we're in this point in the middle here between those 2 points where like it's kind of all bets are off. Like we don't have to be beholden to anything if we don't want to. We can go as far and wide and wild as we want to. So yeah, I guess no pressure. Let's talk about, I guess, who he is, and I'll ask you that question again. So, does he start and stay as this and become the Snoke that we know in episode 7, or do you think he stays human-looking, Andy Serkis-looking guy?
And is he Kino Loy?
Yeah.
I still think that could happen. Though I will say, first, let me just circle back to Sean at the beginning. And I would like to say thank you for bringing the gay dude on when you're worried about a lot of meat on the bone. And you're like, okay, let me get someone who, has a lot of experience working meat on a bone. So I'm very appreciative of that.
I'm an ally. What can I say?
Exactly. And yes. So you asked me, this is a little while ago, about this. So again, thank you. And I immediately said Snoke because, he is in gold robes and wears slippers. And the dude is totally extra. And they never really explored that. So we're going to go ahead and explore that. In my mind, when I saw this here poster, which I have not remembered it for a very long time until you shared it with me, I was looking at old Snoke over there. And I was immediately, maybe it's also because of this look of Rey here, who I feel like had more Padme than we ever got in any of the sequels. And she's giving very Padme Naboo here. And Andy Serkis reminds me of the opening of Attack of the Clones and those Nabooian pilot suits.
Yeah, the
So
leather gloves.
In my mind, he is from Naboo and is a loyalist to Naboo and thinks of them as the highest point of all of the galaxy. And his senator is now, has become, he's the ruler. He was the Empire. He built the Empire. And he was someone who thought the Empire was great because a Jedi killed his queen. And that's the story that he always heard. So he hated the Jedi and he became a very loyal person to the old Empire. He had a massive crush. He was definitely into old Palpatine. He was a former twink who had really looked for sugar daddies and he wanted a daddy. And as old Sheev became wrinkly, he was like, oh, that's my kind of man. He, if
Brilliant.
If Anna Nicole Smith lived there, he would be like, that would be his hero. That would be his idol. So any sort of Anna Nicole Smith on the galaxy far, far away, that is his queen outside of Padme. And he will eventually become the Snoke that we know because he's going to learn that the Emperor somehow returned. And he's going to deform himself because he realized that the Emperor really was gay. That's why there are no gay people in space, because the Emperor probably killed them all because that's what someone like that would do. But he knew that he was. And he also didn't like aliens because he also fetishized about aliens. And so he was, this is what horrible people do. They try to kill everything that they know they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just building himself to try to get in the pants of the Emperor. And that's his whole purpose.
I love
Because
that.
I'm going to be a
love
very
this.
stereotypical gay dude who only thinks about meat on the bone. And that's what I'm going to bring.
So how is this
Or
Snoke
Pride
going
Month's
to how's this Snoke going to differentiate from Lobot? Because these are
It feels like, yeah.
Okay, see,
I don't wanna
Lobot,
get
see, well,
typecast.
this is the thing. You didn't hire an actor. I'm a very one-note person. I know how to do nothing.
People have made whole careers on that. Tom Cruise always
Yeah.
So Lobot, I try to bring in like a South Park version of a gay voice. And that voice came from a real life experience of some very gay, very British dude that I saw in an IKEA one time. And this was like 10 years ago and it stuck with me because it was hilarious. So that voice was literally someone's real voice. This, I have been watching lots of Harvey Fierstein and I really want to channel my Harvey Fierstein.
Yes. Yes, do that.
So expect lots of coughing. Also, there'll be my voice will be ruined, but I'm going to do it. So maybe a little Snokey Snoke meets General Grievous because we gotta include the coughing somehow.
Love it.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that is so good.
Can we make sure that Snoke says Lando at least once so that he can say it Lobot style?
Okay, Landau.
Yes.
Hello, Landau. I got to get the gravel though. I got to get the gravel of. Maybe I'll include a little divine in there. Maybe I'll watch some Pink Flamingo. Yeah, maybe a piano
that's
ballad.
good.
Maybe he's a jizz whaler, and he also sits in a little round organ, covered in nothing but mirrors.
Brilliant.
I like that actually. Yes, he needs to be a jizz whaler.
This Snoke
That's
is
what he does in
already
his free
better
time.
than the real one.
Oh God, he is, isn't he?
He's
Oh my
already
God.
head and shoulders above.
So what I want to know.
Is what The Last Jedi would have been like with that character when they walk into the throne.
Other than that, right? So, I mean, let's just look at what they're wearing. Let's look at Snoke's clothes here.
Mm-hmm.
Between the two iterations of Snoke, like obviously that is a very, very different look. Now, obviously, Brian, you've said that he's trying to get in the pants of Palpatine, so he's flashing himself up. He's getting pretty. He's getting all the things that he thinks he needs, and all the trappings. I think that he thinks that Palpatine.
He's a big fan of
will
the
want.
mods.
Big fan. That strikes me as a very expensive thing to do. Like, just changing your entire look, your wardrobe, all this stuff. If he's a loyalist on Naboo, I'd say he's probably on like middle income. He's probably not exactly like rolling in the dough.
No, but he visits all the airports, taps lots of feet, and frames all the senators and all of that. He blackmails them.
Okay.
I want some bad representation for the gays. We're going to vilify him just so the Banthaverse can get some hate, because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, the gays have had it too good, too long.
Got to bring us down a few pegs.
Time to take them. I was going to say, time
This
to take them
Snoke
down
still
a peg.
shops at Target. This Snoke still shops at Target.
It's
Oh my
Target. Space Target.
Space Target. Oh my god. All right, so you're trying to sabotage us. Fair. Fair. We have gotten away with too much for too long, so all right. Oh god.
No, I want the AI to take things like toe tapping at airports, trying to impress, like make sure we put the words twink, zaddy, sugar daddies into like what is this going to tell us with all these like? Yeah, I want to know. Let's see the real intent behind the AI.
Oh, it's going to run wild with that shit.
So
Wild with it. It's going to be great.
Interesting side note to that. Not long ago, maybe like a week ago, when there's been a lot of talk about AI and the ethics of AI and all that sort of stuff. And obviously people are very wary of the source. Like where is the AI scraping from and all that sort of stuff. So I went on to the AI that we use and I started reading, a bit of its like FAQs and stuff like that. And it wasn't quite clear on that bit, or maybe I just didn't read enough, because I stopped at one point because I just had to start laughing. It actually has in its FAQ warnings that could get sexual. I read that. Obviously, I don't know. No shit.
I'm still waiting for Blue Bantha and the Banthaverse. Like, I listen to lots of tech podcasts and all this AI stuff. I find it very fascinating. Not one. It's really upsetting. No one was doing what you did. Not when you started it.
Oh well.
So
High crime.
I do intend to do a video just about that experience. Like, because one, we need to do more videos than we do. But also, like, I think it is interesting, and particularly at this point in time, like, I don't know, since we've done it, and I'm not saying that we were the first ones to put Star Wars into an AI. Certainly, I think the way that we've done it has been the unique thing. And hopefully the way that we're doing it now continues to keep it kind of unique and give it a bit of a special flavor. But like the most that you see is someone, more recently throwing into ChatGPT, it's just like, write the sequel trilogy. It spits out 6 paragraphs and they go, oh, whoa, bro, I just destroyed Disney Star Wars in one prompt. And then I'm just like, you boring fucks. Like, you dull, boring fucks with no imagination. Like, is that really what you think? No, it's not what you think. But so anyway, I wanted to do a little video about that. Oh, yeah, it's the grift. But yeah, I wanted to do a little video about that and like actually really go kind of deep into like how we were doing it and like the pitfalls and all that sort of stuff. And I guess like the summary of it all is like, without people, writing sucks. Like, I think as an exercise, and particularly right now with like the writer strikes and all that sort of stuff, is like, if you start trying to replace human writers, like, nuance goes out the window. Yep. You are going to end up with the most boring dialogue. Yep. You're going to end up with scenes that everyone has just imagined, but they're fucking bland and generic. Like, it's going to be crap. It's going to be absolutely crap. And I actually, though I don't want it. Like, I kind of want to see a streamer invest in it and try and fucking fail. I
Yeah.
want, like, I know it would hurt in the short term because people will lose jobs and stuff like that, but part of me thinks like we've got to actually see it fail and see it churn out some horrible shit. But then the pessimist in me goes, I've been on the internet. There's going to be a whole legion of people that'll probably go, oh wow, shovel that shit in my mouth. This is delicious. Like,
so on that note, there's a woman who came out and she got absolutely bodied on Twitter because her thing was that she was writing novels with AI. And she was like, people have been doing it for years and it's totally fine. I sell them on Amazon and I make a fortune. But then when people looked, she'd written 21 books and 20 of them were based on Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Like they were just, and that was admitted like, oh, this is a variation on it. So she was just entering it in and just seeing what happened and then just publishing it. And then obviously not making any money because they look like shit. But like, I used it. I entered a short story competition and I was like, I got stuck with my ending. And I was just like trying to think. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put it in Chat GPT and just see what happens. And it was crap because the whole thing was the central conceit of this story was that you couldn't touch the floor. Like that was the thing. The thing was called
floor is lava.
Yeah. But it was like it was 5 second rule. So if you could touch the floor for 5 seconds, but like a monster would eat you or some shit. And then I entered it in, and the first thing that happened was the character steps down on the floor and walks away.
Right.
No. The central joke of the story is you can't touch the floor.
Damn it, robot! Work with me.
I have reiterated this multiple times. That is the whole point. Yeah. So I just couldn't. It could not work it out. And I even ended up putting like the rule is you can't touch the floor, and it kind of gets my story. And it's like he stood down on the floor. No, you stupid AI bitch. So I had to do it myself in the end.
Oh god. All right, so coming back to this doozy, there were a couple of things, Brian, that you mentioned, and just for people watching the stream, in case they don't know the terminology, what's toe tapping?
Well, toe tapping goes back to our queer history when no, in all seriousness, actually, I don't even want to make a joke out of it. Toe tapping comes from cruising bathrooms when you couldn't be gay anywhere and you would go to a stall and you tap your toe, give a little hand gesture, and you'd, jerk off or suck somebody off underneath the bathroom stalls because that was what you did. In modern day society, nothing gives me more life than when queer legislators and senators get caught in hotel bathrooms tapping their fingers and their toes because, like I said, most homophobes, the most extreme homophobes are probably queer themselves and can't handle it. So I live for those things. And I know it doesn't make me a good person, but I still live for it anyways.
No, it makes you a very good person and an honest person.
Yeah.
But I think let's get to the CD side of politics. Let's get down to why, because look, the truth of the matter is, like you can, to get more serious about like the prequels in particular, which are my favorite Star Wars, and I think the fact that Sidious was a senator and used politics and also hated the Jedi and hated all these things, but he was also all of the things that he hated, I think were really interesting things that I mean, if you've listened to Pink Milk at all, I like to get into the stuff that I find most of Star Wars conversations ignore, and that deeper subtextual stuff that, I think is really good. And you can still have a lot of fun with that and make fun of it and have a good time. But like, I do think it'll be interesting to put in some of this queer subtext into an AI because there is not a ton of queer history on the internet, nothing healthy, and for the most part, and I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I think you've come at this in such
interesting.
an interesting way. Like that idea of Sheev like hating the Jedi but being a Jedi, I've never ever considered that. And obviously in the current climate, well, not even the current climate, but like whenever you see a politician raging about like any sort of depravity or anything. They're either engaging in it or they want to be engaging in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the amount of times you see things where it's like, oh, well, if we had gender neutral toilets, this kind of thing would happen. Like, yeah, only because you'd want to do it, you fucking sicko. You know, that's the thing. Like, no one's thinking these things except for you, like real freaks.
The truth be told, look, the only people who I'm not even sure how this, whatever, you people are wonderful and we can say whatever we want. The only people that are over here, like these super anti-trans people, also have trans porn all up in their internet. And the only reason they hate trans people is because they completely sexualize them and don't even see them as human beings, but are turned on by them. And it's really disgusting and awful. But I mean, I've been out for a really long time. I've been through a lot of the changes, and I just, every time it never fails. I have never met someone, like in all my years, I can't even tell you how many people have been at a picket line and have spit on me and then later try to get my number. And I'm not even joking. Like, it's so just fucking stupid.
It's a real snake pit of like, America, man, your country's really weird.
It's kind of fucked. Yeah.
It's getting, I feel like it's getting weirder. Like, I saw that news story where like an 11-year-old kid called sorry, I'm getting serious now. 11-year-old kid called the police because of like his father was being abusive, and the police showed up and shot the kid. You're like, the fuck? How does this even happen?
Yeah.
Sean, look at the surprise on my face with that story.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Kind of, I saw that on Reddit and I was like, oh no shit, and then just kept scrolling, and then I was like, hold on. Wait. No, I need to dig into that a little bit more. Whereas obviously that's the kind of thing you should see that, and it should be like the worst thing you see for the day. But it was like probably the third worst, you know.
Fuck. God damn. Yeah.
That's wild.
Okay.
Sorry to bring us down.
No. Oh God. I saw that article as well, and I was just like, that fucking country. Oh my God. Anyway. Okay, so we've established his background, what his desires are, how he gets the gold robes. I'm assuming then as well that this isn't scarring, this isn't some sort of damage that has happened to him, but he's gone to a plastic surgeon with a picture of Sheev, and he's like, make me look like this. So that, oh God, I'd kind of love to see that. I'd love
I mean, honestly, like, I mean, I don't like, you know, some people are out here doing really crazy things, and, you know, I'm not, like, good for you. Go get what you want to look like, I guess. But sometimes maybe we're exiting it, but I feel like I turn on the TV to some of this reality TV stuff, and people don't even look human anymore because they've, like, trying to be this ideal of something.
But whose ideal is it?
I find it very interesting.
A bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because, like, they don't. But who are they trying to look like? Because people don't look like that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I had this real moral dilemma of trying not to judge it, because who am I to like judge those things? But also at the same time, I don't understand. I don't know. I find it interesting, and I find people modifying themselves to be something they're not is interesting. There's some interesting.
God,
and that's what that's what the Sith are all about, isn't it? I mean, look at all these crazy things they do. Like, look, I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, it is a great idea, and I do. Oh God, I love the idea of the blackmailing. So, like, there's a bunch of senators from different planets and stuff like that could get brought into the story as you know, victims of the blackmail, basically. Like even his ring, like I want it, like that's probably the most expensive item that he's got on him. So like he's gonna have to do something.
I mean, come on, this dude is so extra.
Yeah,
he is so extra. I love everything. Look, I mean, I legitimately love Snoke. I think he's a really cool character. I thought he was, you know, kind of a nothing character in the Force Awakens. And then he was so good in The Last Jedi. Like, he was not in it a ton, but like he was great. I think he was, for me, the best part of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, he was pretty great. Yeah. Let's segue to the last section of this. So we know who Snoke is. But let's talk about how you think he relates to everyone else that will be in that story, because like that again, pretty open here. Like we don't, so we know how he's going to get to who he is, but like, you know, what's his relationship to the other characters in the poster here? Does he have one? Does he not have one? Like, who's he a secret to? Like all those things. So let's jump into that.
I guess like I was thinking, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not playing Rey. Don't know who's playing Rey, but she just looks like Padme here. So I was getting very Naboo vibes from her. That maybe she was some granddaughter of some Padme offshoot. I don't know, something. But I can't help but think about, and I guess this is breaking the rules, but you know, Captain Phasma's armor came from one of those Naboo starfighters. So there was at some point in the idea of creating the sequel trilogy that the prequels actually mattered. And we kind of know now that like they were ignored. There was like one comment about the clones that Kylo uses against Hux, you know?
Yeah.
But they're kind of, there was ideas planted there. So they were acknowledged at one point in time. And then somewhere along the way, they just decided to remove the prequels from the conversation.
Yep.
So I'm glad that we're bringing them back in through the Mandalorian, and so they're going to be tied in somehow, some way. But like I said, I'm a big fan of the prequels, so I thought, to me, just making him from Naboo brings the prequels in a sort of way. His relation to the characters, I don't know.
Is he the main villain? Do we think, or is he working with a villain? What would we say?
Make Poe the villain. Look at that poster.
Yeah,
Poe
is definitely.
Oh, we could have that
would be interesting. Yeah,
a very Starscream and or Cobra Commander and Destro Starscream and Megatron relationship.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. Yeah.
I love nothing more than the sniveling like underdog who's constantly trying to overthrow the top dog.
Big fan of that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Snoke's the sniveling underdog. You think Poe's maybe going to be the villain?
I do agree that this poster makes Poe look not so nice. When did Ex Machina come out? Is that before The Force Awakens? Because I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Was it? No, I thought
2014. 2014, Ex Machina, and 2015 was...
yeah, so it was before.
So I feel whoever made this saw Ex Machina and was like, oh, he's going to be the villain because he was so damn good in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, didn't we know stormtroopers were in it from the beginning? Because there's no stormtroopers in this, or was that?
I mean, I guess if this is pre the teaser,
there was nothing really. I mean, I don't know. Like, Chris, were there any comics or anything at the time that were like set after Return of the Jedi that was still kept canon?
No, not at that point. No,
there was just that. What was that called? Shattered Empire.
Shattered Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was really close to Return of the Jedi. That wasn't.
That's like literally the day. It's like it's right after the celebration, and then like the morning after.
Yeah. But that wasn't released for some time, was it?
No, that was Shattered Empire was. I don't think it was 2015. I think it was maybe no,
September 2015. So just before the film came out.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Like, I find this poster very interesting. That like it's really just the Jedi and the Mandalorians are the only like really Star Wars thing that is on this poster. Other than I guess that's Mon Mothma, right? That's from.
Yeah, that's definitely Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
The prequels cut somewhere in there. That's what she was wearing in Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yep. People probably didn't think that any kind of remnant of the Empire was going to come back. Like they were going to do something new, but they were like, no, let's just keep the old stuff. They love the original trilogy, so let's just keep doing that. No one liked the prequels, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, this poster has like major prequel vibes, right? It's not just me. Like it's like
It
major
does, but I
prequel
remember
vibes.
the Vanity Fair or something interview with J.J. Abrams, and like the guy was saying, the writer was saying like he'd seen them doing like some editing or whatever, and J.J. had joked, "Oh, we could have like Jar Jar's dead body in the background or something like that." There was very much this sense of like the prequels were a mistake. We're going to show you now that we know how to make Star Wars, so we're going to keep it very close to what you know. We're not going to fuck around. We're just gonna.
The hubris was crazy back then. The first line in the movie is this is how we begin to make things right. Yeah. And I was like, that's. I mean, I was like, that's not cool, because you know there are many other people who love the prequels out there. So yeah. The fact that they were acting like prequels were a mistake, and then like slowly they started to realize, oh no, it's not just
actually that's our audience.
Yeah, because whoever made this poster clearly like was into Clone Wars and stuff like that, because that's like not Boba Fett Mandalorian, that's Jango.
Yeah, it's Jango. Yeah,
sure. There's definitely a hint that like they thought it was going to be like a Mandalorians versus Jedi movie or some sort of like that scene, like some brand new thing, because there's no, like I say, there's no like Sith Lord or anything. There's no red lightsabers, no stormtroopers, no Death Stars or anything. It's very much like, maybe it's going to be this, maybe it's going to be a Mando Jedi war, which is pretty cool.
I mean, considering the way, whatever out, that costume that Max von Sydow has on, like maybe he is a villain, like some kind of militaristic, bad guy or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
It does have some Tarkin vibes, but I mean, like I think like it was a very clearly like putting Leia in Mon Mothma's dress.
She's the chancellor or something.
She's like it was. This is like the government was going to exist, but there was going to be politics involved somehow.
Right.
But I think it was that early on article too with JJ that he was talking about like the Nazis in like the sect of Nazis or somebody that were in like South America or something, right? And how they were like. So there was
they all
escaped. The Empire was going to come back. That was a really cool idea, and those concepts are really great, actually.
I think they were sort of like, there were some very cool concepts, but I think as well, I'm sure Disney were just kind of like, let's just play it as safe as humanly possible.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Because people are still quite, because I obviously hatred for the prequels was still, I think, very hard when The Force Awakens came out. I remember sitting down for The Force Awakens and being like worried that it was going to be crap. I was like, this is like, I remember just before it started, I was like, well, this is the last chance I have before I see this. And if this is awful, we're never going to hear the end of it. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. But plot twist, I watched The Last Jedi and it was the best Star Wars film I'd ever seen. And I still haven't heard the last of that. So couldn't have won. Couldn't have won either way. So it doesn't really matter.
I will say in the discourse now, like, I mean, maybe I'm old, but like The Force Awakens wasn't that long ago. No. And I do think people forget how much people still hated the prequels.
Yeah.
Like they still hated them then. The prequels weren't loved until people hated The Last Jedi the way they did. And now like they hated that so much that all of a sudden the prequels became perfect. That's how like that's how I'm like the timeline works in my head,
We'll wait for everyone to suddenly love Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in a few weeks. When they all sort of decide that, the new film's too woke, suddenly Crystal Skull will be,
the gold standard.
That'll be the gold standard. And don't get me wrong, I like Crystal Skull.
I do too.
Raiders is the gold standard. But at the same time, it's like, first segue again. I saw a clip on YouTube about 90 seconds long of like a car chase, and it's like banter between Indy and Fleabag. Phoebe
L3, we are on a Star Wars podcast.
Well, we get paid by Disney to shill, so
that's right.
So I gotta earn that paycheck. And I was like, oh cool. And then for some reason I read, and this is the last time I'll ever do this, I read the comments, and this was the one that I decided, no, I'm done with that now. And it was just wall-to-wall hatred, pettiness, nitpicking. Every line of dialogue that Phoebe Waller-Bridge said, they were like, oh, how does that compare to like an iconic Indiana Jones line? You're like, you just picked something random, and it's like, oh, if this was the best scene they had from the film's going to be shit, so on, so on. Too woke and all this. And I was like, you know what? That just got in my head and annoyed me, so I'm just going to step away because I'm, who knows what the film's going to be like. I'm going in with an open mind. I don't give a shit. People are fucking idiots. But the key thing is, the thing I always remember, everything is moving culturally away from these idiots. So they're just going to have less and less things that they can watch, less and less things that they can enjoy. And all the stuff that they do enjoy, they don't understand it anyway. So who gives a shit?
Yeah. Anyway. That's something I always think about when I think about like when episode 7 came out. It's that age. It's that age of like, how old were the young members of the audience? That like, how old are the 12-year-olds now? So if you were 12 when you saw episode 7 in the cinema, good chance you watched the prequels at home with your parents in the same way that we watched the original trilogy growing up on tapes, right? So that 12-year-old who probably grew up with the prequels saw their first Star Wars in a cinema and it was episode 7. They weren't chronically online, but by a couple of years ago, they probably were. Like we're nearly, what are we at, 7 years? How when's the 10-year anniversary of?
It'll be 8 in December, right?
Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, 2025, I guess.
So if you were 12, if you were 12 when this came out, like the ideal age to watch any sort of Star Wars or adventure movie or anything like that, like they're 20. They're 20 soon. And that discourse changes quite a bit when you sort of age into it, I guess. So I'm always very conscious of that. And I don't think that Disney realized that at the beginning. I think they were very much, like you said, like play it safe. But
I mean, it's funny, like my kids,
I didn't need to.
I only have, out of my 3 kids, only one is a massive Star Wars fan. But none of them like the original trilogy. None of them. They're old
boring.
And they're boring and they don't like it. And it cracks me up. Like it's such a good, like,
Yeah.
I find myself getting defensive, which I shouldn't do, but I do.
Like if they grew up only watching, like not only, but I mean, if they grew up where like they watched the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that kind of stuff and see all these characters. And I was saying this because I just did a Return of the Jedi podcast yesterday, that the original trilogy is so is like an island unto itself. It may everything branches off and you can do all these stories, but like it's so sequestered. Like over here, like no one, like it's just its own thing, and it's old. So kids are not. It's too slow for kids. Even Return of the Jedi, I think, is probably too slow for today's audiences. Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the lightsaber fights, like especially like New Hope is such a 70s movie, isn't it? Where it's just like, what's amazing is when you watch that movie compared to like a movie today, you're like, oh god, this is quite slow paced. Because I don't think they get to the Death Star until the first hour. Like I don't think it drags because I actually love it, but like the weird thing is, like at the time, people were like, oh my god, this kind of like frenetic energy and like editing.
Yeah,
it's wild. And you watch the film and it's just a very long scene. So
Luke doesn't even show up till like 18-20 minutes in or something, right? Isn't it? Like I know there's the exact number out there somewhere, but it's like 18 minutes or something.
It's a wild movie in the sense of like how you couldn't get away with making that movie now. For like a bunch of reasons. But if you had your hero given a lightsaber at the start of the movie and then he just never used it, you'd be murdered. You'd just be ripped to shreds. But they're like, oh, here's a lightsaber. Cool, I'm just gonna put that in my pocket. And then that's the last time you ever see it.
You stay right there.
It's like, what the fuck? I just never gets it out, never uses it, never interacts with the villain. No, it's a completely wild movie in that sense, where like all those rules that you kind of are given for a movie, it just breaks them all.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So, as a segue, because you just said never gets it out, back to someone who probably does get it out.
Nice.
We're in our last 5 minutes. Yeah, see what I did there? Yeah. So in our last 5 minutes, Brian, as we've been ranting and raving and thinking about all these other things that aren't necessarily the episode 7 story, has anything else popped into your head? And I say that completely to put you on the spot right at the end. Has anything else popped into your head? Any new ideas? Anything that you thought, oh, actually, maybe this?
No, honestly, in talking, I'm like really excited to be able to watch these other writers' rooms and seeing who other people's ideas are, and then learning how to bounce off of those things. Honestly, I think it's. I tried personally, like actually, I'm trying to go into this like I would a Star Wars movie. I'm just trying to think of Snoke, and I don't want to write expectations for anything else. So let's just see what happens. Yeah, and have more fun with it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, like. I'm very curious to see how other people riff on this, and I think as prep, the only prep I'm going to say is don't necessarily watch all of what Bryan said. Here are some points. I would like everyone to sort of have that kind of fresh perspective coming in and not feel like there's too many constraints. But that being said, like we are starting to build little ones, so. What I'm interested in is, so Alex Damon is Kylo Ren, because that's who he's been in previous streams. Yeah. So like I'm interested to see how now with what we've said about Snoke, what he comes up with for the relationship there, or even if there is one.
You know what? We're gonna really challenge, and you can make sure Alex hears this. We're going to see how much of an ally he is. He better not turn Snoke into some groomer. Just be real careful. Put him on the, just how woke are you, Alex? Just how woke are you, dude?
Explain that.
Oh, God. I think he's going to have fun with it. I think he's going to have some fun with it.
Oh, he's always game for a bit of madness, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I think
the dude,
actually probably
in real life, IRL, the dude sat there and we had a very serious conversation about the Mandalorian at the Andor thing while I was wearing a hot pink Speedo. So you know what, the dude can sit and hang.
He gets it. Yeah, he can. You will hang in and he can hang.
I just had a thought about our next one. Chris.
Yep.
I think we might need to put you on the spot for the next one.
Finn, right?
For Finn, because otherwise you're going to be in all of these. And if we put you anywhere but probably next, you're going to have a hell of a lot of things influencing you. And I don't think that would be
I've
fair
already got
on
ideas.
You. Okay.
I've already got ideas. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So maybe the next one, we'll announce it soon as we come to the end of this stream. We will announce the next one soon, but maybe it should be the three of us. And let's put you on the spot. Let's get all your ideas for Finn out before you get influenced potentially by too many other people or hear any of their ideas, and let's make them riff off you a bit as well. I think that's going to be good.
Yeah,
that's going to be good.
That's smart.
And I mean, I'm excited to see what you come up with, because like there's a lightsaber in his hand. There's Jedi robe right fucking there.
I'm basing everything off of what we did with episode 10, and just remember how he bounced from woman to woman, and that's going to lead into what's happening here with the Jedi, or is he a Jedi? Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, you'll see.
Awesome.
I'm going to have an oversized head. Like
mine? Oh,
like this poster.
Oh.
What is his medical condition?
He had a rough upbringing, that one. I'll definitely have some ideas for the next one.
Oh, amazing. Okay, we have hit the hour, so I think it is time for us to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who will watch it after we hit finished. Bryan, thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming up with a fucking excellent background for Snoke.
Hey,
that is
great.
God, that's great.
Also, gay Twitter, please just come at me. Don't come at these people. All of my very not queer friendly takes were all from me. So you can come at Serving Pink Milk. Just invade my DMs. It's all good.
Don't have to worry about it. No one watches us. No one watches us. I say that. I'm going to jinx it. Yes, let's jinx it. Let's jinx it. All right. Chris, thank you. Where can people find you?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Ryans, on Instagram, at Chris Ryans and Bro Axiom. You can catch me on Friday nights in about a minute on Force Connect with Nick and Pete for streaming Star Wars. Sometimes here and there on Shooting the Poodoo live Sunday nights on the Bro Axiom channel, and our quick shots we do every week previewing the Star Wars comics. Yeah.
Sean, where can people find you? Or can they find you?
Instagram at Sean Fallon Writes. That's it. It's my only place now.
I'm jealous. And Brian, where can we find you?
You could find me at Serving Pink Milk, though. Let me tell you, every day comes closer, and I'm itching closer and closer to getting off social media.
Yeah. Can't blame you.
So
Twitter especially. Like,
Twitter's just such a joke.
Yes.
God,
so funny.
I never thought I would say it, and I've said this in the past, I know it, but the second Zuckerberg comes out with their Twitter competitor, I'm on it. Just because I've already got the user account, and like they'll probably code something that's reasonable. If Spoutable get their act together and get an app, I'm on it. Like I would love to stop using that.
What was that one we all jumped to?
Hive.
Is that a thing still? No.
Yeah, unfortunately not. No one's using it. Which is a real shame. But yeah, short-lived.
Yeah, I wasn't on there very long either.
No. Yeah. Anyway, find us on the Hell platform at Blue Bantha Milk, on the Zuck platforms at Blue Bantha Milk Co. You're already watching us on YouTube, so I don't need to say where to find us there. There is a Tumblr, not really using it. We'll find a way to use it in some point in the future. We have a TikTok. What is it just at Blue Bantha Milk Co. on TikTok, or is it at Blue Bantha Milk? I can't remember. It's one of them. Find us on TikTok. Yeah, we will see you again soon when we get to the next writer's room, which will be Chris Ryans talking about Jedi, maybe Jedi Finn, or just Finn.
Just Finn.
I like that.
You'll see.
Just Finn.
No. I think he's going to be Finn Calrissian.
Okay.
Everyone was always talking about him being a Calrissian, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll give it to you. There you go. Okay, he's a Calrissian.
Nice.
So we'll see. But I got some ideas. I got some other ideas.
Love it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye until next time. Bye.
Bye.